This week in the Frame Shop, our guest is artist Chris Miller. Chris, welcome.
Welcome. How are you?
Good, great. Thanks for being here. So Chris and I have known each other for longer than we're going to admit. But back in the analog days, Chris was making business cards and brochures. Then he moved on to making websites. And then one day he announced that he was going to become an artist, and he did. And then one day he announced that he was going to write a book, and he did. And so now there's a podcast, Urban Artist Market, all this stuff. So we're going to talk about all of that. So this is the book. So I'll be Vanna White. And so tell us about the book and the podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, The Spiritual Artist came out of the first year of COVID, and it was some writings that I had put together over the years. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's about the creative process. It's how to get into the state of flow. And so I started thinking about this process when I paint, or do logos, or write a book. And is that something I could teach other people and help them find ways, what I call portals, into this process? And so the chapters are all independent, and you can just flip to any chapter as you want, and it will kind of guide you for the day on how to be creative and how to get into that state of conscious flow where you just feel like you are channeling some sort of a power greater than you and just being creative.
Right.
The podcast is where I highlight artists that I love, and I interview them about their creative process and share something unique about their technique. So it can be jewelry making people, it can be musicians, actors, directors. I've interviewed yoga teachers. It's very broad, but it's all about the creative process.
Right. Okay. Well, so I think it's important to mention that you don't have to be an artist for this book. Okay. This is really for anybody that's creative. Now, I draw like little smiley faces and stick figures, so I am not, my talent is more in designing frames. So if you're an interior designer or a crafter or anything that is creative, then this book definitely applies. And the podcast is really great. Chris has some fantastic guests, and they're like 30 minutes maybe?
Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes. Something you can listen to while you drive to work.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's the book is a quick read. The podcasts are easy to listen to. So I really recommend these for anyone that's in the kind of the creative sphere. I think you'll really enjoy it. So that's the book, and this is the art. So these are like I think the biggest pieces you've ever done. Is that right?
Yes, it's one solid piece. I've done two separate that were kind of nailed together, remember?
Right, yeah.
Russell's always very creative on how to mount your art.
Right, so you had like two panels that went together, but these are the largest single pieces you've done, which are 4 foot by 6 foot, and these are on a board on a panel. So tell us about these.
I have a client that wanted commission work, and this is how I do it. I say, okay, I'm going to do 2 different paintings for you and let you pick, because I don't want someone to be obligated to purchase. And also, in case if she doesn't like either of them, she could back out. So she wanted the color palette, and you can see they're very different looking paintings, yet they have the same color palette. So she came to me and said, okay, I have a newly designed house. I have this beautiful bright blue backsplash in the kitchen, high gorgeous walls, very high ceilings, contemporary design. And so she said, as long as it has blue and orange, that was her requirements. Now you can see I mixed a couple other colors in here to give it a little more harmony, some greens and beiges and grays. But that's how they came from.
So early on, I approached you about doing a commission, and you were terrified of that. So you I've grown. You've grown, okay, and so okay. So I'm sure that the book had nothing to do with that, right? Okay. So yeah, you started doing commissions now, and I love these. This one's my favorite, and I think that one's your favorite, right?
No, I love all my children.
okay, they're all wonderful.
That's the answer.
Okay,
I love all my children in different ways. I mean, this is a very big, bold. I think a little more masculine because of the black and the strokes.
Right.
And this is a little more delicate and a little more intricate. So it just depends on what you like. It's funny, whatever I like.
I'm delicate.
Yeah, you're delicate.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I love these pieces, and we also put a matte spray finish over the surface of these, and you really like that
So yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
So I used several different kinds of paint, and one of them was a flow paint, and it had a lot of gloss to it. And then I used a matte Holbein paint. Well, they look great, but the contrast was a bit much. So I asked Russell if he could do a treatment on front, and he does do a protective treatment. And so what it's done nicely is it's pulled it all together. So from the side, you don't see a weird reflection, you know, where pieces are reflecting and other pieces aren't. Now it has a nice smooth quality, and it's protected, right? So,
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So, in addition to all of this, you also have Urban Artist Market, where people can see and buy your art as well as others. So tell us about this, about Urban Artist Market.
Giving me a chance
yeah,
to
this is a whole
everything.
advertisement, but you are a fascinating person, so tell us about that.
So a couple years back, I formed the Urban Artist Market out of Dallas, Texas, and it's a multidiscipline, sort of like an indoor festival for many different artists. We have ceramicists, mosaics, stained glass, illustrators, painters, you name it, weavers, fiber artists, and they all come together and they sell their work over a weekend. So it's twice a year in Dallas and changes location, but it's exciting to see all the different work.
It's a fun show, and I should also mention that you have some like clothing, like scarves and things.
Yeah,
also.
what's really neat, because Russell, I've seen you do this, is what can be on trend is when you do designs, you can actually frame up clothing and fiber arts.
Right. Exactly. We've done the Hermes and Chanel make these silk scarves that are beautiful. We've actually framed those as decorative art.
So people, you're not limited. I think that's a great point, and that's what I loved having all so many different artists. Is you're not limited to just painting.
Well, right, and that's also, you know, you not only have things that will hang on the wall in your show, but you have dimensional things like you know, the tabletop sculptures, stained glass. So lots of different types of things. So it's not just stuff that goes on the wall, and it's also a curated show. So not just any artist can get in. So you have I think a level of quality there that you may not get in some other type.
I do, and
shows.
you know, I like to tell people through my book, everybody's an artist, but there are levels of skill that you gain, and so we try to have a bar so that there's a consistency. But everybody is an artist, so
okay. Okay, yeah. Well, everybody has some creativity there. So, in addition to the live shows twice a year, it's online too.
Yeah. Actually, you can go online and purchase right now, urbanartistmarket.com, and my art's on there. You can order it, or a lot of the artists on there will actually do commission work.
Right.
So you can order any type of that work, whether it's ceramic, mosaic, 3D modeling, that type of thing.
Right. And I'll mention that Chris also sells some of his artwork on pillows. Now you may think that, you know, but they're really cool, and that's I think a pretty popular item for you, and the pillows are cool. So go check that out. It's Urban Artist Market, Chris Miller. His work as well as other artists are there, and you can take a look at that. Also go to my website, artifexart.com, and you can schedule a Zoom consultation with me, and we can talk about Chris's work or anything else. And follow us on YouTube, and I will see you next time in the Frame Shop.